September 1927. Dearest William and Jenny Hoyt, Saline is such a beautiful little village. The town is booming and the countryside remains covered with farmland. Fields of corn, wheat, soy, and hay grow as far as the eye can see. It is harvest time in our little village. Daily, I see farmers and their team of horses working in the fields harvesting their crops to sell to the city folk, store their livestock, or to ship by train to other communities. We are so proud of our farmers here in our little village of Saline. What a reassuring sight it is to see cows, pigs, and sheep grazing in the fields. As you remember, from time to time, we farmers visit each other to trade some of our livestock. This is essential in order to keep these animals healthy and herds flourishing. In fact, our county is now the leader in wool production in the grand state of Michigan. It just goes to show that a farmer's hard work and dedication does indeed pay off. A farmer's life is never easy. They are up before dawn milking cows and turning animals out to pasture. When these chores are complete, breakfast is usually waiting in the dining room. The families all eat together before tackling the day's chores, such as tending the fields, feeding the livestock, and throwing and baling the hay. Now it is September and the fields are filled with farmers harvesting the crops. Some corn is stored in silos, while some corn is taken to the mill to be ground into cornmeal. The noonday meal is a welcomed feast and a break in the day. Following this respite, it is back to work in the fields until the sun sets. The day's work is finished with the final milking in the barn. We certainly miss your family at the mill. Saline has a long history with mills since the Parson brothers harnessed the energy of the river and opened the first sawmill in 1827. Soon there was less need for sawmills for wood, and the mills became flouring mills to grind the crops of wheat and corn. Do you remember? The mill would produce 125 barrels of flour a day. Now, with so much flour being produced in our community, many farmers are sending the flour out to their communities by train. Back on the farm, a farmer's wife never rests. While the men are working with the livestock and tending the fields, the women are busy from sun up to sundown, closer to the home. They have the responsibility of running the house. In between preparing 3 large meals each day, the women care for the children and the elderly, mend clothes, tend the family garden, and the difficult task of washing. While the men tend to most of the animals on the farm, the women are responsible for the chickens. Each day, the women collect the eggs and prepare chickens for meals. The kitchen gardens are also a priority for farming families. Women tend the gardens all spring and summer. When the produce ripens in August, the women harvest the fruits and vegetables. The produce is then canned by heating the jars on a wood stove. The kitchen is sweltering in August, but we are so thankful in the winter we have these foods in our cellar. On occasion, while I am heading into town, I will see those friendly faces selling eggs and fresh produce to earn a little more money for the family. When visiting neighboring farms, it gives me great pleasure to see the young children learning the ways of farm life. Starting at a very young age, both boys and girls work where they are needed. It always brings back memories when I see little ones picking berries in the garden and another child collecting eggs for a meal or selling. I recall the most difficult job was dusting the rugs. Trying to beat all the dust out of every rug was always the hardest job. I know our way of life will continue when these little folks grow and take over the family farm. Just the other day, farmers from all around Saline traveled to the Rentschler farm to help in another barn raising. The men worked outside building the timber-framed walls and a variety of other necessary tasks. The women folk worked in the kitchen preparing the noonday meal for the men. What a feast! These pies certainly smelled delicious. At the day's end, with the hard work of the men, women, and children, a barn was standing proud, just waiting for the finishing touches which Mr. Rentschler and some of his farm hands will complete. It was a very successful day. Running a farm is such hard work, but when family and neighbors work together, it is amazing what can be accomplished. Many things have changed since your family moved to Spokane, Washington, but farming continues to be a reliable way of life in our community. Looking forward to hearing from you regarding the arrival of the new baby. Sincerely, William D. Meade.